Render as a project, and more specifically its RNDR token, is up nearly 12,000% from its all-time low and has been one of the best performing tokens out there in the altcoin space. One of the main reasons for that is Render's decentralized GPU network, which got a pretty massive boost with a new partnership with none other than NVIDIA. And now with its migration to Solana, coupled with lower fees and a deflationary supply, it's looking like a project that could redefine decentralized computing. In the process, you can also make a ton of money, which certainly is a nice bonus. But the reality is you should never get into a project that you don't understand. That's first and foremost, right? To do your own research, to do all your due diligence and that kind of stuff. And so today, the goal is going to be to understand, at least to better understand Render's network, and thus the real potential of its RNDR token, which is quietly powering the creative future of the blockchain. Welcome to the channel. My name is Maddie and this is Altcoin Buzz. All the best of luck if you choose to invest, RNDR or otherwise. I wish you well, genuinely. Just remember that I am not a financial or investment advisor, and that means, by extension, that this video is not official financial or investment advice. Render Network is first and foremost a blockchain-based distributed GPU rendering protocol. Let's try to break that down into simple terms, though. Render effectively just connects people who need, for example, high-quality graphics rendering. These could be artists, but also animators, architects, AI developers. They connect those individuals with people who have spare GPU power. Because for a long time, these guys have had to rely on expensive, centralized cloud providers along the lines of AWS or maybe Google Cloud. And so the idea here is that Render decentralizes the whole thing, taking away these central powers. You can kind of liken this to Render being kind of like Airbnb, but for GPUs. Render runs on Solana and helps make 3D rendering a lot easier and a lot cheaper for things like film and animation, also for game development, for virtual reality and metaverse apps, and for, of course, artificial intelligence projects. Right now, there's crazy demand for cheap, reliable GPU rendering as the world is becoming more AI heavy and visually more complex. And Render is providing that as a direct service. Even Apple is on board here. The newest iPad Pro has Octane 3DX design software built into it. And Render, they're actually the ones that power Octane X. So pretty big enterprise companies like Apple can use products that run on Render. And that's a massive vote of confidence. What makes Render especially important and valuable right now at this time in particular, in large part at least, is the demand for GPU computing power. That is just becoming so massive thanks to factors like AI model training and real-time rendering in AR and VR, but also the explosion of 3D content in all kinds of things like games and digital settings. And like I've already mentioned, we have big companies like Meta, Apple, and NVIDIA who are each betting billions of dollars on immersive technologies. The infrastructure, however, that powers it all is the key variable here, and that's where Render steps in, because with Render, again, you do not need to own a warehouse of GPUs. You simply need to tap into a decentralized network and pay with Render. Before I mentioned, by the way, RNDR as the token, it's been updated. It is now Render, R-E-N-D-E-R. That is Render's native token. And this whole process makes high-end graphics rendering more accessible, but also more scalable and more democratized too. Render has also been getting a lot of attention from major Hollywood names like Beeple and J.J. Abrams. As far as what's new with Render, they've been very busy in 2025, not just in development, but also in terms of their presence on the global stage. The team had RenderCon 2025, which was its first ever official conference. This took place on April 15th in Hollywood, California, and means that Render is literally stepping into the spotlight here. This took place at Naya Studios and featured some pretty heavy names in the media and tech space like Richard Karras of NVIDIA. And the event was all about GPU rendering, AI advancements, and how immersive media workflows are evolving with Web3. And as far as we are concerned, the event really does signal that Render's reputation is entering really the top level of AI, but also entertainment and GPU industries. Then there's also GTC 2025. This is NVIDIA's annual conference. Render was officially featured there on the 20th of March, where they showcased new AI tools for media production. This really is NVIDIA's biggest AI event, and Render had the floor. That's a big deal. Let's talk a little bit now about partnerships and consider 2025 alone so far, where Render teamed up with both Dropbox and Blender and boosted token utility by 60%. Those are big names. Dropbox, of course, is a major cloud player, and Blender is a top tier 3D tool. The project also announced strategic alliances with BitTensor and Mode to optimize compute resources on chain, helping AI developers scale decentralized apps faster and cheaper. And so these are very significant moves in that they very much pushed Render into AI infrastructure directly. The market cap of Render hit $5 billion earlier this year in January. That's down now. We know it's been a difficult few months in crypto, but we're looking at about $2.2 billion market cap at the time of this recording, with a $4.29 token price. Represents a pretty good deal, in my opinion. Render is only really down due to the broader market slump, and that's while adoption is climbing. So chances are prices are going to follow very soon. Plus, it also got listed on Robinhood crypto in Europe, which means more exposure, of course, to retail investors. Render was founded by Jules Urbach, who also created OTOY. This is a cloud graphics company with clients like HBO, Disney, and Tesla. Urbach is also a pretty big name in Hollywood, and he sees Render as a long-term project, which is actually pretty rare in crypto in terms of outlook and vision. Render's advisory board includes people from NVIDIA, Netflix, and even Pixar. This spotlight video is sponsored by Walrus protocol, which has the fastest solution for data storage on the market today. And of course, it's from the team behind Sui. And it's a potential Filecoin killer because it does, quite frankly, a lot of things that Filecoin cannot. And it's climbing up the market cap rankings too in the top 100. One thing is that it's so resilient that even with only a few nodes operating, your data availability won't be affected. Decentralized data storage on Walrus is solving a pretty big problem that many blockchains suffer from. That's poor coordination, and it affects you more than you may realize. Walrus protocol has some pretty big advantages with Sui and the Move programming language over other decentralized data providers. The problem, as they see it, is coordination. That's making sure if a protocol does three things, that those things work seamlessly with each other. Also, the protocol needs to work with other projects in the ecosystem and with the blockchain infrastructure, like validators. Walrus has some new partners too, like Klanosaurs and Seal for security and privacy management. The Walrus mainnet and WAL token launch are a huge success. And to stay updated on mainnet activities and other news, make sure to follow Walrus Protocol's X account and their other socials. Check out the link in the description of this video below for more information. So a little bit now about the token. RNDR is the fuel that powers the network. The token was formerly called RNDR, but rebranded again to RENDER. Creators use Render to pay for GPU time, and node operators earn Render token for contributing their hardware. So it's a pretty straightforward exchange there. It is a detailed supply-demand cycle, but if we break it down in terms of token stats here, the circulating supply is 517.71 million Render. Total supply is 532 million Render. The max supply here is infinite, so that's a negative in my book. That's never ideal. It is what it is. Maybe that's a big deal for you, maybe it's not, but just be aware of it. I always want to point that out when that is the case. The current price, as I said, $4.29 as I record, with a market cap of $2.2 billion. And Render, just like the rest of the market, took a strong hit from the broader sentiment and the broader declines that we saw. But we like its fundamentals as a project. Market analysts right now are ranking Render as a top AI infrastructure project. Once the artificial intelligence wave kicks in again, as it's starting to now, by the way, Render could well push beyond its all-time high, which was $13.60. Could probably move well beyond that into the $15 to $18 range in a bullish cycle. So that would represent approximately a 300% price rally from where we currently stand. Let me know what you think about Render's potential in terms of price, but also as a project. Is there a chance this one could become the NVIDIA of crypto? Is this all overblown? Curious to know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, be sure to join our discussions that are ongoing both on X and on Discord. I will also include links to those in the description of this video below.